The sun bleeds over the horizon like a wound. Heat waves shimmer off the sand, bending light and distance into lies. At Forward Base Orion, everything looks solid, until you touch it. The walls hum with tension. The air tastes like metal. Sergeant Mara Liu steps out of the comms tent, notebook in hand, headset hanging at her throat. She's 30, calm eyes, quiet posture, her uniform crisp but plain. No medals, no swagger. To most, she's invisible. The woman who translates intercepted chatter, corrects syntax, and keeps her voice low. To them, she's not a soldier. She's support. Background noise in a world built on gunfire. "Hey, translator," a corporal calls from the truck bay. He's shirtless under the vest, grinning with the easy cruelty of boredom. "You missed a spot. One of those enemy love poems still needs subtitles." Laughter rolls from the maintenance crew like a wave. Mara doesn't look up. She keeps walking, the sand crunching under her boots, her pen tapping against the notebook in rhythm. She's learned the rhythm of mockery. Never resist, never feed it. But today it lands sharper, because the base isn't stable. Rumor says a sabotage unit is moving in, a ghost team hitting supply routes, cutting comms before every strike. Half the camp believes it's myth. The other half whispers that someone's leaking intel from inside. Captain Rourke, the base commander, doesn't believe in ghosts or translators. He believes in rifles and rank. He spots Mara crossing the yard and calls out, "Liu, report!" She jogs over, stopping beside the armored convoy. "Yes, sir?" Rourke doesn't look up from the tablet he's signing. "Intelligence says enemy traffic spiked overnight. I need a real analyst on it, not someone who just speaks pretty." "I've already decoded 3 transmissions." He cuts her off. "Then why haven't we caught anyone? You're here because your clearance paperwork was convenient. Don't mistake that for relevance." Behind him, the logistics officer snickers. Mara swallows the heat in her throat. "I understand, sir." "Good. Stick to translating. Leave the soldiering to soldiers." The words hang there like grit in the air, sharp, invisible, choking. Rourke walks off. The convoy engines growl to life. Mara stands still, watching the horizon blur. Something in her gut twists, a signal in the noise. By dusk, the air feels heavier. The base generator flickers once, then steadies. A blackout test is scheduled for midnight, or so the engineers claim. But the timing doesn't match any protocol Mara knows. She's spent the last 4 years reading enemy transmissions, their cadence, their code words, their patterns, all etched into her mind. Tonight, the chatter is wrong. Too quiet, too clean. In the mess tent, soldiers laugh over poker and powdered coffee. Mara sits alone at the corner table, the glow of her tablet lighting her face. She zooms in on a waveform, a 3-second burst of static buried between 2 harmless broadcasts. She isolates it, filters it, and freezes. The frequency isn't random. It's a trigger code. Someone just armed a device inside their perimeter. She rises fast, chair scraping. But before she can reach command, the base alarm blares, then dies mid-howl. Lights flicker, then black. Gunfire crackles somewhere beyond the wall. Voices shout, not English, not clear. Then silence again. Mara grips the edge of the table, her pulse slamming against her ribs. Through the dark, she hears it. Boots scuffing on sand, too controlled to be panic. Whoever they are, they're already inside. She fumbles for her radio, whispers, "This is Liu, possible breach." Static answers. The channel's dead. A flashlight beam sweeps the tent. "Still here, translator?" Corporal Vega, the same one who mocked her that morning. He's sweating, rifle trembling. "What the hell's happening?" "Power's down," Mara says quietly, "and our comms are jammed." He laughs nervously. Guess the tech gods are angry, but she's not looking at him. She's looking past him, at the faint green flicker on her offline screen. An unmarked signal pinging from the generator hub. Inside the wire. She closes her notebook, voice steady now. "Not gods," she says. "Ghosts." Vega frowns. "What?" She doesn't answer, because for the first time, she realizes this blackout isn't chaos. It's choreography, and she's the only one on this base who can see the pattern. Outside, the desert wind howls. Inside, A woman everyone ignored starts moving, calm, precise, silent. By dawn, they'll learn why the enemy called her the ghost of Al-Safir. The blackout stretches past an hour. Generators cough, then sputter out again. Emergency lights blink red across the forward operating base, washing everything in blood color. In the command tent, sweat glistens on the foreheads of officers hunched over dead screens. No radio, no satellite, no drones. It's like the world's been erased. Mara Liu stands at the edge of the room, hands clasped behind her back, the only woman among a ring of restless men. Her headset hangs dead, her voice ignored. Captain Rourke barks orders, each one echoing louder than the last. "Vega, secure the ammo dump! Lock every gate! Get me someone who can fix this damn blackout." The tech officer stammers. "Sir, I'm locked out of the system. It's encrypted." Rourke slams a fist against the table. "Then decrypt it." A low murmur ripples through the tent, frustration mixed with fear. Mara steps forward, voice steady. "Sir, the pattern in the comms, it's not random. I think they're—" Rourke cuts her off, not even turning. "Not now, Translator. This is a military issue, not a linguistic one." Her words die in the noise. The officers exchange smirks, one muttering, "Maybe she can sweet-talk the power grid back on." A few chuckle, thin and nervous. Humiliation, round 1. Dismissed, again, when the only clue is sitting in her notes. Minutes later, she's outside, walking through the red gloom toward the communications tower. Her boots crunch glass, a shattered floodlight. The tower hums faintly, backup battery still alive. She kneels beside the terminal, scanning the signal logs. She sees it again. The same burst frequency, 3 seconds long. Patterned repetition every 15 minutes. Someone is relaying coordinates from inside the base. Before she can dig deeper, a flashlight beam blinds her. "Hey, step away from that console!" Lieutenant Hayes, tall, built like a wall of arrogance. He strides forward, rifle slung carelessly. "Who gave you clearance to touch that system?" Mara straightens. "No one. But I traced," he interrupts, voice dripping with disdain. "You traced what? A typo in Morse code?" The soldiers nearby snicker. She holds her ground. "It's not a typo. It's a beacon. If we don't jam it—" Hayes steps closer, invading her space. "Listen, Miss Translator," he says, eyes hard. "You're here to interpret enemy chatter, not play spy. You think because you can speak 4 dialects, you're suddenly NSA?" Laughter again, sharper this time. He gestures toward the dark horizon. "You want to be useful? Bring coffee to the command tent, or sweep the sand off the generator pads." She doesn't move. Her silence unnerves him. He huffs. "Fine. Touch that console again, and I'll have you confined for interference." He stalks off, muttering, "Desk jockeys. Always think they're saving the world." Humiliation. Round 2. Public. Stinging. But she files it away. Because under his feet, the ground vibrates. A low, distant thud. Then another. Mortars. Far off, but closing fast. Inside the bunker, chaos erupts. Rourke yells over the noise. "All units! Defensive positions! Get eyes on that ridge!" But the drones stay grounded. The radars, blind. Mara re-enters, holding her notebook. "I think I can restore limited visuals if I—" Rourke spins on her. "Enough! You're not a combat engineer." "But sir, I studied signal encryption before." He slams his fist on the table again. "Do you ever stop talking?" The tent goes silent. Dozens of eyes fix on her. The insult hangs like smoke. Rourke exhales, slower now, the edge of fatigue creeping in. "Lou, go back to your tent. That's an order." For a heartbeat, she doesn't move. Then she nods. "Yes, sir." As she turns away, someone at the back mutters, "Finally, maybe now the adults can work." Laughter, bitter and nervous, follows her out into the dark. Humiliation. Round 3. Final strike. She's been silenced completely. Outside, the wind howls over the dunes. Mara walks alone past rows of sleeping barracks, the base a pulse of red emergency lights against the black desert. She stops beside the generator hub, her notebook pressed tight to her chest. She looks up. Every antenna, every camera, every automated gun turret. dead. Except one. A motion sensor blinking in the far corner, rhythm too steady to be random. She takes a slow breath. They're not blind by accident. They've been blinded on purpose, and she knows exactly how. Tomorrow, the report will call it an ambush, but tonight, in the shadows behind the fuel depot, a translator walks into darkness, silent as wind on sand, ready to prove that she's been more than her title all along. The desert wind dies, replaced by something worse. Silence. Not a calm silence, the kind that feels like someone's holding their breath, waiting for the first scream. Mara moves along the narrow gap between fuel tanks, her steps light, her breath measured. Every instinct says go back, stay safe, obey orders. But orders have already failed. Through her earpiece, faint static whispers. Not random noise. A pulse. 4 short, 1 long. Repeating every 40 seconds. She knows that rhythm. An encoded guidance ping. Someone's directing a strike team. She ducks into the generator hub, a corrugated steel shed that smells of oil and burnt copper. Inside, the lights flicker dimly from a half-dead backup cell. The main console blinks once, then flatlines. But beneath the console, she spots something new. A black module wired into the power relays, its surface stamped with foreign lettering. She kneels, tracing the wires. The handwriting on the insulation. Arabic shorthand. She's seen it before. In the intercepted chatter from 3 nights ago, they didn't sneak into the base. They'd been inside it for days. Mara whispers, Clause Sigma, line 12. A code phrase from her own training, a training no one here knows she ever had. She slides a thin knife from her boot and pops the casing open. Inside, a small transmitter hums, blinking in perfect sync with the encoded pulse. It's a locator. Someone's painting the base for a drone strike. The sound of boots crunching gravel makes her freeze. 2 soldiers approach outside, their flashlights slicing through the dark. She recognizes the voices. Lieutenant Hayes and Corporal Vega. Command says the blackout came from this hub, Hayes mutters. Probably that translator screwing with cables again. Vega snorts. Wouldn't surprise me. She's probably trying to prove she's one of us. Their laughter twists in the night air. Hayes steps inside, beam sweeping across the floor, then lands on Mara crouched by the open console. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" he barks. She doesn't flinch. "Sir, I found a transmitter. Someone's feeding our coordinates to..." He grabs her wrist, yanking her upright. "Enough! You're tampering with military equipment. I'm trying to save it." "From what? Grammar errors?" He shoves her back against the console. "Do you even realize what happens when you mess with classified systems?" "I built them," she says quietly. The words land heavy, sharp. He stares at her. "What did you say?" Her eyes lock on his, calm, cold. "I built this system 5 years ago, under a ghost contract. SIGINT Division." He hesitates. Vega blinks. "What the hell's SIGINT?" the corporal mutters. Hayes laughs nervously. "Signals intelligence. Classified stuff. You expect me to believe you're one of them?" Mara doesn't answer. She pulls a flash drive from her sleeve pocket. Matte black. No markings. "I can shut down the beacon before they triangulate." "You're not authorized." Authorization won't matter when the missiles hit. For a long second, only the hum of the generator fills the air. Then a sound in the distance. Low, mechanical, unmistakable. Drones. Hayes' bravado drains. That's not ours." Mara kneels again, plugs the drive into the console, and types fast, keys clicking like gunfire. A string of foreign commands appears. Her own encryption signature. Hidden. Classified. The generator jolts. The beacon light on the transmitter sputters, then dies. Outside, the sound of drones shifts, scattering off course. Vega whispers, "What did you just do?" Mara exhales slowly. Cut their eyes. For the first time, Hayes doesn't have a comeback. He just stares at her hands, realizing they move like someone who's done this before. Not a translator, but a ghost operator. She unplugs the drive, tucks it into her sleeve, and looks at him. "We're not done. That was just the guide signal. There's a second trigger." "Where?" he asks, voice low. She looks past him, toward the command tent burning red in the distance. "Inside," she says. "The leak's not outside the wire. It's sitting next to your captain." She's not the liability they mocked. She's the only one who knows what's coming next. The desert is black glass now, heat gone, wind silent. Only the dull thud of boots and the jitter of dying generators echo across the forward operating base. Inside the command tent, panic smells like sweat and gun oil. Men shout over each other, radios hiss static, maps scatter across the floor. Captain Rourke stands at the center, jaw tight, shouting orders no one can follow. Then the tent flap opens. Mara steps in, dust on her face, eyes sharp as the edge of a blade. Behind her, Lieutenant Hayes follows, quieter now, his rifle lowered, his arrogance cracked. Vega trails last, pale and silent. Rourke glares. "I thought I ordered you confined to quarters." Mara drops a black module on the table. It clatters once, then goes still. "That's what was feeding your coordinates," she says. "It's offline now." The officers lean closer. The foreign lettering gleams under the lantern light. Rourke frowns. "What is that?" "Signal relay disguised as a power regulator," Mara replies. "Planted inside your own network." Someone laughs nervously. "You're saying they hacked us with batteries?" "No," she says, voice low. "With access." She pulls open her notebook. Pages scrawled with code patterns, timestamps, frequency maps. Each page layered like a confession of precision. She says, "The transmission key matched one used by our northern supply convoys. Which means," she flips to the last page, slamming it down, "the leak's not local, it's internal. Someone in this tent is sending them data." A cold silence grips the room. Rourke stiffens. "That's a serious accusation." "It's not an accusation," Mara says evenly. "It's math." The others exchange glances, some angry, some afraid. Hayes finally steps forward. "She's right, sir. I saw it. The beacon was real. It was guiding drones straight to us." Rourke studies him. "You expect me to believe her?" Hayes swallows. "You should." The captain's face hardens. "You'd risk your rank for a translator's fairy tale." Mara looks him dead in the eye. "Not a translator," she says quietly. "Signal ghost. Omega clearance. Retired under Clause 17. The tent goes dead silent. Every soldier knows that designation. The ghost section. Operators whose files don't exist. Their names erased from archives. The kind who only surface when the system itself breaks. Rourke's mask cracks. "You're lying." Mara presses her thumb to the black drive she carries. A faint holographic seal flickers above it. Department insignia, clearance codes, time-stamped from 3 years prior. Rourke staggers back a step. "Why wasn't this in your file?" "It's not supposed to be." Outside, a dull explosion rolls across the dunes, distant but close enough to rattle the tent poles. Everyone freezes. Mara doesn't flinch. She taps the hologram again. "They're trying to trigger a secondary beacon," she says. "We still have 5 minutes." She turns to the comms rack, dead metal just minutes ago, and slides the drive in. The console flickers, lights stuttering back to life. Her hands move fast, typing sequences no one recognizes. Encrypted text scrolls down the screen, then stabilizes into English. Signal breach source. Base command uplink terminal. Every head turns toward Rourke's desk, his personal tablet blinking. His face drains of color. "What? How?" Mara's voice is calm. "Your authentication key was cloned, probably during the last joint drill. Whoever did it piggybacked your clearance to install the relay." She disconnects his terminal, reroutes the system, and slams the main switch. A shockwave of power hums through the tent. Lights steadying, screens glowing. External comms return, clear and strong. Satellite feeds blink online, showing drone paths veering off. Colonel Mercer's voice crackles through the restored radio. "This is Central Command. Orion, your feed's back. Who restored you?" Rourke hesitates, then glances at Mara. For the first time, his voice carries something new: respect. "Liu," he says, "Special Operations Support. She just saved the base." A pause. Then the colonel's reply, low and certain. "Copy that. Confirm her identity code." Rourke looks at her. Mara nods once, types her credentials, and the colonel exhales audibly. "Affirmative," he says. "Ghost section. I thought that program was buried." "Not buried," Mara replies softly. "Just unseen." Rourke stares at her, guilt flickering behind his eyes. Then he salutes, crisp, real, no mockery. "Ma'am," he says quietly, voice steady now. "What are your orders?" The relic device exposed. Identity confirmed. Validation complete. The translator they mocked now commands the room she was once excluded from. But outside, the desert still trembles. And the real attack hasn't even started. The hum of the restored systems turns into a heartbeat. Screens flicker alive, every radar feed snapping back in bursts of static and light. And then, they all see it. A formation of drones, 20 clicks out, gliding low across the dunes, heading straight for them. Captain Rourke shouts orders, but the network's half-crippled. Automated turrets offline. Perimeter sensors dead. They have minutes, maybe less. Mara stands at the center of the chaos, eyes locked on the screen. Her fingers move with calm precision, typing sequences faster than the officers can follow. She's not guessing. She's remembering. "Lieutenant Hayes," she calls. "Manual override the south guns." He nods without hesitation. "Vega, patch me into targeting relay 9. He scrambles to obey. Rourke leans over her shoulder. "What are you doing?" "Writing them out of the sky," she says quietly. The map on her screen glows red. Enemy pings everywhere. She isolates one, opens a shadow channel, and types 3 words into the code line. Words the Ghost section was never supposed to use again. Eclipse Protocol. Engage. For a moment, nothing happens. Then the horizon blooms white. A pulse surges from the base's buried jammer, rippling outward like an unseen wave. On the radar, every hostile drone freezes mid-air. Their navigation feeds fracture, spinning into chaos. One by one, they drop. Silent streaks of fire vanishing into sand. The blast of light fades. The screen steady. The threat indicator clears. Silence falls. Rourke exhales, disbelief etched into every line of his face. "You just ended the broadcast," Mara says. "They'll never find us again." The colonel's voice crackles through the radio. "Confirmed. Drones neutralized. Base secure. Whatever she did, it worked." Rourke turns toward her, voice low. "Why didn't you tell us who you were?" Mara meets his gaze, calm, tired, unflinching. "Because ghosts don't announce themselves." She looks toward the horizon, smoke curling against dawn, and adds, barely above a whisper, "They just disappear after the work is done. They called me a translator, but the desert knows my true language. Silence." Dawn crawls over the desert like a confession. Smoke still rises from the dunes, curling into pale ribbons that vanish against the sky. The forward base hums faintly again. Wounded, but alive. Soldiers move quietly now. No jokes, no laughter. The same men who mocked her hours ago avoid her eyes. Not out of shame, but reverence. Captain Rourke stands beside her outside the command tent, helmet under his arm. His voice is low, rough with humility. "You saved more than this base, Lou. You saved all of us from our own arrogance." She doesn't answer, just looks past him, at the rising sun spilling light across a landscape that almost killed them. Hayes approaches, salutes. "Ma'am, Central Command requests a debrief. They want your full report." Mara shakes her head. "There won't be one." "Ma'am? Ghosts don't write reports." He hesitates, then smiles faintly. "Then I guess this one will be a rumor." She gives a small nod. "Good. Let it stay that way." Behind them, the base loudspeakers crackle back to life. The anthem plays, soft, broken, hopeful. Every soldier stops what they're doing. Heads bow, hands rest on hearts. Rourke turns to her again. "If you ever come back," he says quietly, "I'll make sure the title on your file reads what it should have always said." She glances at him, the faintest smile on her lips. "It already does. It says unseen." She picks up her notebook, tucks it under her arm, and walks toward the open gate, the desert wind lifting her hair. Her shadow stretches long across the sand, then fades into the light. The camera lingers on the notebook's last page. One line written in black ink. You don't need to be seen to make an impact, only to act when others don't.